Hi, my name is Bell Inspector, and I'm going to be informing you about the two persuasive tips that I read today in the book. The first tip was, what tips should we take from those who get them? You would think it'd be the other way around of, what tips should we take from those who give them? It is basically saying matching the behavior of others to create this sense of likeliness, bond, or trust between you and another person. Growing up as a kid, or even like today, you have this sense of bond between you and your friends, or maybe not even close friends. You have some type of bond, trust between you and that person, that y'all like whatever you like in common. It might be whatever you eat, it might be whatever you listen to, or even sports, TV shows, whatever it might be. Y'all have that sense of bond or trust to have that connection. And in the book, it gave an experiment about how waiters had this connection with their customers by just simply repeating their order back to that customer. It gave this customer a sense of trust that they were going to get whatever they wanted back, the correct order back. And the waiters who did this actually were receiving higher tips than the waiters who were not. The waiters who were not doing this might have been just saying okay, or even moving on to the next person. This is just a way of creating that sense of bond between them and that customer who was ordering, and more than likely those people are going to trust them more, which will allow them to get higher tips. This goes along with any other kind of business transaction, whatever it might be, a salesman, whoever. If you're trying to persuade them to whatever it might be, might not even be business, it could be anything. You're going to have some type of connection, trust, bond, or match, or some kind of likeliness with them and that person. They give another experiment about how MBA students were supposed to go in and match the behavior of their partner. This was another way of creating that sense of trust to help them be more persuasive. And they were going in and just acting how they were acting, sitting like they were sitting, dressed like they were dressed. And it said that 70% or 67% of them were more likely to agree on whatever they were supposed to go in there and, talk about. So they were 70% more likely to agree on that topic. And then it said that there was some that were supposed to go in there and, just can be opposite, not sit what they were sitting like, maybe dressed a little different, act like they had some different characteristics about each other, and those people were only 13% of the time to agree on whatever that topic might have been. The next tip was, what kind of smile can make the world smile back? Basically saying, what kind of smile is going to make that other person happy? And it's basically being authentic or inauthentic. Nobody wants to deal with someone who's fake, not real, or just not trustworthy in business, especially. And there's two types of people. And in customer service, there was companies with customer service who did this, and they were trying to help their customer be more satisfied. And the customer servicers or employees who did this were just being more authentic, happier, smiling, and having that sense of just happiness to their customers, whoever came in. And it came back that said that those customers were more satisfied just because the customer service was easier to talk to. They were authentic. They weren't fake. They weren't trying to be rude. And then compared to the other customer service people who were not doing that. And then there was a quote that said Benjamin Franklin. It said, search others for their virtues. Basically saying, search for the good in all people. No matter who it might be, you're going to have this, eventually you're going to have some type of connection between you and that person. And this is going to move forward that relationship, even if you might hate that person, or if you do not like them at all, or you've never met them. Just search for whatever they have good in them, and more than likely they're going to move along with you, and eventually you're going to get along. It gave an example about how a lady in the book, she never got along with her boss, and finally she liked that he was very family oriented, and she liked that, and eventually she said a comment about that, about that to him, and he actually returned the favor, and eventually, it kicked off their relationship. So basically, to be more persuasive in that sense, just to be authentic and be who you are, and eventually whoever that person is, or many people, whoever you meet, you and that person are going to kick off that relationship. It's going to help you be more persuasive in the business world or without the business world. It could just be a simple relationship with a friend. It could be like relationships. So yeah, those were my 2 tips of how to be more persuasive.